We're also tracking some new developments in President Trump's crime crackdown. Just a few hours ago, President Trump suggested he wants to consider the death penalty for those convicted in D.C. murder cases. This comes after a deadly shooting early this morning, which ended a 12-day streak of no homicides.
Our Matt Gregory just got out of that meeting with D.C.'s U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro. So, Matt, how's the district's top prosecutor responding to this push for the death penalty?
Lorenzo, she seemed to really welcome this, but again, it's a lot easier said than done when it comes to the law here in D.C. because you're talking about, federal court and D.C.'s laws and this prosecutor's office that kind of works between the two. Now, I should point out that earlier today, we were all there to talk to D.C. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro about a drug seizure that was it was the culmination of a cross-country conspiracy that MPD and other officers really broke that open and were able to, be done with that and get those folks behind bars, they say, and ready to await trial. But then President Trump did say this, and that kind of turned the entire focus of the press conference.
If somebody kills somebody in the Capitol, Washington, D.C., we're going to be seeking the death penalty. And that's a very strong preventative. And everybody that's heard it agrees with it.
All right, so like I said, can this actually be done? President Trump didn't really outline how this is going to get carried out. D.C.'s council, by the way, abolished the death penalty back in 1981, but this is where federal versus D.C. justice systems differ. So for federal cases that are prosecuted here in D.C., yes, the government can seek the death penalty. But talking with legal experts, right, if it's a D.C. Superior, which is the courthouse I'm standing in front of, if it's there, they really are not able to pursue the death penalty. That would actually the case would have to somehow be taken out of Superior Court and taken to federal court. Again, these are all things that haven't been ironed out in terms of details. But talking to D.C.'s U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, she says, as far as that goes, there's a deliberative process. They'll talk to juries about it, but she believes this is a key tool in crime fighting in D.C. Take a listen.
We are prosecutors. We are the tip of the spear. We are the ones who take these cases into court, and the burden is on us to prove these cases. And we welcome that burden beyond a reasonable doubt. Sometimes a jury will buy it, and sometimes they won't. So be it. That's the way the process works.
Yeah, so what you're hearing right there is sort of her discussing what this will look like. The process, by the way, to do death penalty cases in D.C., the federal ones, that has to go through the Attorney General's office, Pam Bondi. But as far as whether or not a D.C. Superior Court jury could actually be given the idea of sort of deliberating on the death penalty, legal scholar I talked to at Georgetown Law says, listen, it's just not possible. D.C. law prevents that. So the case would have to, as I said before, go across the street to federal court. And even that's not a simple process. So again, an announcement from the president that appears to have, not a whole lot of details worked out. And we're going to continue to learn more about that as the process goes on. But coming up tonight at 11, we asked the D.C. U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, what does this look like? How is this going to help drive down crime? What does she think? We'll have that answer for you coming up tonight at 11 o'clock on WUSA 9. But for now, outside of Superior Court, Matt Gregory, back to you.
I can't wait to hear that answer. All right, Matt.
We'll be listening and watching. The Trump